Hey,
Hey, look at that. Right on time. We are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Um, Jamie, uh, I'm kind of speechless this week because you saw my post regarding YouTube. So we'll get to that in a minute, but we want to allow people a few minutes to check in. Um, Jamie, let's give people their whole hour. Let's talk a little bit what you're seeing out there and what's going on with your clients. I have to believe you're getting a lot of people. Tell me what's going on.
yeah. Actually, to be honest with you, I've been staying busy lately. One of my clients who I just worked with a little bit over a month ago. I told you the story last time we were on here about a lady who just recently got hired and she started working actually a couple weeks ago. But another one of my clients is right now in two final interviews, two different companies, and it's been a while since she's been in a final interview. So the fact that she's got two companies kind of playing tug of war for her, right? I mean, they're in the final interviews. I hope one of them at least works out, right? Because she's super excited. She's got confidence now in her job search, and we've been working together on her resume, her interview skills, and her LinkedIn profile. And yeah, you just see a renewed sense of confidence in her job search. And that's what I do, right? That's what excites me every day. And seeing people get hired is my where my success comes from, right? So yeah, it's been busy, been helping people with their job searches, and seeing more jobs out there, and spring hiring in full effect, and hopefully we can continue to get some of these people into opportunities, and then just continue to work with people and get them hired faster.
Okay, so Jamie, let's talk about what we do and who we are. First of all, my name is Anthony Hines. I do what I do for job seekers because when I went through my job search in 2010 to 2011, I had one interview in 13 months, one interview. And the only time I got a job was someone I knew from a previous job happened to have a consulting gig that got me 4 or 5 months to get me back in the game. So I had all those nights where I didn't sleep. I had all those nights where people didn't call me back. I had all that stuff. It's never left me because it happens to people every day. They're not ready for it. They're not close to it. They don't believe it's going to happen. They're in shock for the first month. That's why I do what I do. Today and nearly every week whenever he's available, I have Jamie Edwards here. Jamie is a coach, but not a coach like every other coach you hear about on LinkedIn. Jamie stays with you until you get a job. This is the difference here. We both stay with you till you get a job. Now, I give you my tips and tools, and I let you be on your own. Jamie, when you become someone who works with him, and he'll tell you about himself in a minute, but he doesn't leave until you get your job. That's what's different here. So let's see where it goes. Jamie, I haven't checked the chat, so I'm not sure how many people are here. We could be talking to ourselves. I have no clue. But let's talk a little bit about yourself, Jamie. What are you doing? What's
Yeah,
going
so let me
on?
tell you a little bit about myself. As Anthony mentioned, I'm Jamie Edwards. I am a career coach now, one of the top career coaches on LinkedIn, and I have been doing this now for about 3 years on my own. I have my own company called Jam Sessions with Jamie, and what I do is I help people with the three most important things on a job search, which is resume writing, interview practice, and LinkedIn profile optimization. There's nothing really more you need on a job search. That's why I only focus on those three things, because in all honesty, you need a good resume and a good LinkedIn profile to be visible. And then you need great interview skills to land an opportunity. So that's what I do for my clients. And much like Anthony said, he does this because, there was a time where he had one interview in 13 months. I do this now because I have experience in the past recruiting for some big Fortune 50 companies, and I know what it's like to be laid off. I've been part of several layoffs in my life, and it's not a good feeling at all. You get the carpet pulled out from under you. And what I decided to do was take all the experience that I had doing recruiting, and now I do career coaching on my own, basically. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to applicant tracking systems and just the hiring process in general. And there's ghosting from recruiters. And my job as a career coach now is that I get to do this on my own. I have a no BS approach to what I do, and I work with job seekers every day. I help them get hired faster. I help them get more confidence on their job search. So that's a little bit about what I do. I mean, I'm working with people every single day. I just finished 2 resumes for a couple of clients today. And obviously, if you're on this call, it's because you're on a job search, you're looking for a new job, whether you have one or not. And there's a link in our event page here. If you ever wanted to, see what career coaching is like and see what it's like to work with somebody from start to finish, I'd love to have a conversation with you and see how I can help. That's what I do. And it's my passion. I love doing what I do, and I do it at a price that's more affordable than most career coaches out there. And I have a lot of recommendations to back up my claim. So that's a little bit about me. We got some people in here too, Anthony. We got Victoria here. She says, I am here, ! She's excited to see you. Thanks, Victoria, for being here. We got Frank in the house from Massachusetts, Wilmington, Massachusetts. So, yeah. And there you go. How about them Celtics, right? Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
yeah, that's right. And yeah, and Jamie, that's the point, is that we try to put this stuff and keep things moving forward, because the fact is, that's what we do. We just keep people moving forward, and that's all there is to it. And it's really basic. And Jamie, by us telling people how basic it is, I think it gives people a little bit of confidence, right, Jamie?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people stress. I mean, I get it. Job searching it can be stressful, right? It really can be. And a lot of people overthink things, right? They overthink things. They overthink things on their resume. They overthink things in their interview process. They overthink the different things they post on LinkedIn, right? And it's very easy to overthink things and then confuse yourself and say, well, what's really working and what's not really working, right? And then you start spinning your wheels, you start second guessing yourself. And my job is to help take people back to the basics, right? And help them and show them that you don't need to tweak your resume. You don't have to give your resume an overhaul, a full overhaul every time you apply to a job, because that could take hours to do sometimes, or half hour to do. And by the time you do that, people are applying to jobs, and now you're the 200th person that applied to a job, and you might not even get seen after all. So my job is to make that job search process easier, get back to the basics, give people that confidence. Victoria says that she's looking for a new opportunity, but she's working full time, right? And that you'd be surprised with how many people I work with that are in that same boat, right? That are employed full time and still seeking a new opportunity. I mean, Anthony, that's the best time to look for a job, right? Is when you have a job, because you're making money and you're still keeping your head on a swivel and looking for the next best opportunity. So I work with a lot of people who don't want to have to get ready when they find themselves looking for a job and they're out of a job. They want to stay ready, right? And that's what it comes down to. Oh, Anthony, did I lose you? All right. Well, looks like we lost Anthony here. Maybe he'll jump back out here in a second.
No, you didn't lose me.
Oh.
You did not lose me. You got me now, Jamie? Can you see me now?
I see you twice.
Yeah. Don't ask me how I did that, but I'll let you talk.
Yeah.
But
that sounds good. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit, about kind of what I'm seeing out there. So one of the things that I've been working on with a lot of people. So I most of my sessions, probably my most popular coaching session that I do is resume writing, right? Resume writing is a piece of art. I tell people this all the time, right? Like, so, we've gotten so inundated with using AI and Chat GPT and different sources to build our resumes and do all these things, right? And I got news for you. Like, I will not, ChatGPT is good for ideas, right? It's good to get ideas and things like that. But if your whole resume is being written by AI, I promise you that recruiters can tell that your resume is written by AI. So that's why it's so important for you to, if you're not investing in career coaching, it's still important for you to take time and build your own resume. And if you want to use ChatGPT for advice and ideas on things, sure, that's great. But there's nothing more important than making your resume sound like a human wrote it, and it's coming and you're telling your story in a human being sort of way, rather than it sounding like a robot, right? So, that's just a few things, like I said, a few things I'm seeing out there. I'm seeing a lot of a lot of resumes not have a professional value proposition on them. A professional value proposition is obviously that summary that goes to the top of your resume. And there's a certain approach and a certain way that I write those value propositions. And I give people different versions that they can use on their resume, because it's not always a one size fits all approach, right? You can apply to, let's just say you apply to 10 different project manager jobs. All 10 of those jobs may be different in terms of what they're looking for. So it's important that you have a professional value proposition that's on top of your resume that clearly talks about some of the skills that you have and clearly defines what it is you're looking for next. It sets the tone for your entire resume, right? So I'm just kind of sharing some tips here, just off the top of my head, things that I'm seeing out there. We're taking questions, guys, as well. I know Frank reached out to me about career coaching, and I think it wasn't in the cards financially at the time or whatnot. But Frank, I'd love to have that conversation again with you if it's something you're interested in. But yeah, Anthony, what's going on your end? Why don't we tell people? Why don't you talk about the job search and tell people about what's going on with your YouTube?
Okay, Jamie, can you hear me now? First of all,
I can hear you just
me?
fine.
Whoa, okay, good. Basically, what I've done with my YouTube page is that I'm working with a marketing company, and they've kind of promoted what I've done, the job search videos and shorts. Some are pretty basic. I do it when I'm walking at lunch, or I do them at a very basic level, because when I think of an idea, I post it, because all someone needs is one thing to work for them. And those things are what I think about when I create a short or a video for everyone. But
Yeah.
but what I've done is I've also incorporated some of the podcasts. They've gone out on the YouTube page. I have 3 levels, second and third level are paid levels with lessons from YouTube, from PowerPoints, but I haven't promoted that because I don't have enough lessons up there. But the reality, Jamie, is this: people just need to understand that they have value, right, Jamie? They don't get this. It's one of the first things they lose when they're in this process. They go into this place where they think they have to be perfect, and they think they have to beg, and they think they have to do everything right. Jamie, talk about the psyche of how a job seeker can succeed. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about
You have to have that confidence, right? And you got to celebrate every win that comes your way, right? That's the most important thing. I mean, if you're focused so much on that mindset where you're like, oh my goodness, in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten 25 rejection emails and nobody wants me, and woe is me, and that nothing's working and whatnot. Like, you're focused on the wrong thing. The more time that you spend on the negative part of your job search and thinking that you're not going to be able to get a job and wondering if you're ever going to get into an interview and whatnot, like, you're spending more time on the wrong things. And in return, it's going to affect you mentally. It's going to affect you physically. You're not going to want to, some days you're going to wake up in the morning and you're not going to want to apply to jobs. You're going to be missing out on possible opportunities that could be your golden opportunity. You have to always pick yourself up as a job seeker and remember that you didn't get this far by luck. You didn't get this far in your career by luck, right? If you were in your job for 10, 15 years and you just got laid off, or you have all this experience and you're now looking for a new job. Once again, you didn't get this far by chance. You got this far by hard skill and by determination and by hard work, right? So there is a company out there that's going to hire you. You're not going to be unemployed forever. You're going to find an opportunity. What it comes down to is drilling that into your mindset and just remembering that all you got to do is focus on, what do we say, Anthony? One what?
One yes, brother. One yes. That's all we're looking for. That's all we're looking for is one yes. And
that's all we're looking for.
It breaks my heart, Jamie, because I see so many people, they post every day and they go, oh, I'm at 600 applications or whatever. It's so ridiculous. The point of the matter is that if you're looking for one yes, that's all you're looking for. You're not looking for anything else. So the fact of the matter is, yeah, that's all you're looking for.
Yeah,
and
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and tell them, Jamie, that's all these people, they're just tied up in the stuff they cannot control, which is ridiculous.
And when you get that first interview, or you get to a final interview, or somebody even looks at your resume, like, celebrate every win that comes your way, right? Because that's what you should be celebrating. Some people say, oh, well, I just got a first interview. It's no big deal. I've had first interviews before. And I'm like, okay, how many people out there would love to be in your shoes and even get that first interview, and they didn't get that first interview? Like, celebrate that stuff. Like, you have to celebrate the wins. And you got right. Victoria says some of us cannot even get interviews. Well, once again, you might not be getting interviews now. And once again, that's a negative connotation right there. And you shouldn't be thinking that way. You might not be able to get an interview right now, but why are you worrying about that? Get that one interview. Once you get that one interview, and you will get an interview, that's going to be an exciting time. And that's what I do, obviously, as a career coach. I help people get interviews faster and get more confidence on their job search, right? You have to have that confidence. If you go in there and say, we cannot get interviews, I can't do this, I can't do that, that's too many can'ts, and can'ts don't go you anywhere. You have to say, I can do this, and you have to have that positivity, or it's going to affect you mentally.
Victoria, step back. I want you to post every day on LinkedIn. I want you to get involved with the discussions. I want you to volunteer in your community and post in your profile the volunteer work that you're doing in your community. If the weather is getting better, get out there and volunteer. Then I want you to go to a golf course, and I want you to go volunteer to try to help organize a golf tournament in that golf club. Because who's going to be playing golf, Victoria? Who's going to be playing golf? CEOs, CIOs, CMOs. Guess what? Somebody might be impressed by your ability to help them have a great golf tournament. Maybe that gets you an interview. My point is, get out there and say to yourself, where else can I be to get myself noticed? Because noticed can come back to a job at any moment. You don't dictate the path of success. Notice can bring you back to jobs. And the fact is, as long as you keep telling yourself no, you're right. It's no. Okay? And the fact is, that you, as Wayne Gretzky says, you want to skate to where the puck is going to be. And where the puck is going to be is your next opportunity. And your mindset has got to be getting out there, being positive, get noticed, and then have satisfactions. Like if you were volunteering in your community and you had a great day and you helped to organize a walk, there's great satisfaction in that. That's what Jamie said about celebrating what you're doing. So don't sit back and say, what I don't have. Let's go get what's out there. Get what you can get what you deserve, attack, and go. Right, Jamie?
Right. You know what's wild to me? I'm going to kind of rant here for a second. I just want to go on a limb here, but like, I get people sometimes that like I said, they're struggling with their job search, right? We have a discovery call. And as you know, all my coaching sessions, if you did all three of them, right? LinkedIn, resume, and interview, it's under $1,000, right? For my coaching sessions, which is relatively cheaper than most coaches are selling $3,000, $4,000. And I meet with people sometimes and they're struggling with their job search and they want to get hired. And it's been a long time. And they're like, well, you know what? They can afford to pay for career coaching, but they just don't want to or whatnot. They think, okay, well, I can just get this on my own, right? But the thing is, I tell people this all the time, like, is it worth it to you to spend a little bit of money so you can get hired faster and get into a salary paying job that pays you 75, 80, maybe six figures, right? Like you have to invest in your career sometimes, and you have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, if something's not working with me, like if my resume, I have this resume, okay, it's not working. What are you doing to fix it? Right. You can blame the job market all you want. This job market is really crazy as it is, but sometimes it is your resume. Sometimes your interview skills could be better. Sometimes your LinkedIn profile needs to be updated and you got to have help with posting content and things like that. And that's really where I come in, right? I tell people this is your career worth less than $1,000 to get hired? Right? That's the choice people got to make. I mean, yes, you can do this on your own. There's free things like we're doing right now, and we're talking about different topics, but ultimately you got to make a decision, because when you're not working, every day you're not working is a day you're not making money, and people got to get back to work. They got to make money, right? So, it's one of those things you got to prioritize what's important to you. You know what I'm saying, Anthony?
Totally. And when I was out of work, I didn't care what kind of money I would spend if I got someone that was going to help me to get a job. I didn't care. That's what the problem is with some of these high-end coaches, Jamie, is they spend so much money. And the fact of the matter is, you spend a lot of money on them. You think that magically they're going to fix you and get a job because you spent a lot of money. No, 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 no. They're going to tell you what they know,
right,
and just talk to you like you're in an airplane flying into O'Hare in about 3 hours, and you're in the air right now from 50,000 feet. They're going to tell you about the market. They're not going to sit there like Jamie and be there with you all the way to the end. No way. They're going to give you their canned spiel, and then they're going to say, you know what? Best of luck. Oh, you want me to keep working with you? That'll be another $5,000.
right,
And now it's like you're a crack addict, right? Now you say to yourself, what am I going to do? I've spent 10,000. Well, if I keep going, maybe another 5,000 will get me the job. Well, guess what? What if it doesn't? All right.
right.
My point is that you make the right decisions for yourself, everyone. Stay away from negative people. Get out there and volunteer. Get in a great exercise. Get in good shape mentally, physically, spiritually. Get in the community. Get to a place where you're ready. Because I'm going to tell you, and Jamie will agree, hiring managers will be calling you out of nowhere because their generalist who was supposed to schedule the interview quit 2 days ago, and they didn't schedule the interview. Hiring manager thinks it's scheduled. They call you. Be ready. When you get somebody on that phone, don't let them off. But if you say to them, oh, nobody called me, but let me check my notes to see what the job is, how much do you think you'll impress them? How good do you think you'll look if you're organized when they were not organized? How good do you think you'll look? Okay? So that's what I'm telling you. I'm waiting for other questions. Jamie, we usually get rapid fire questions all night. Yeah, we haven't gotten them tonight.
Guys, like, this is your time to ask questions. I mean, we're doing this for free. We're not, we don't charge for this. We're trying to answer questions if anyone has them. Like, take advantage of this. It's a free coaching session, basically. We'll ask your questions. I mean, while we're waiting for questions, we'll talk about this. Well, actually, we got this person. Way is in here. Says I'm 50 and 50 and older, retired. Just subscribed recently from Inspiration. Living abroad, feel valuable. Love it. I don't know where you're living abroad. Let me know, Way. I'm wondering where you're coming from here. He says, yes, more contact and show your expertise, then more chance to be recruited. Thanks for your advice. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Talk about LinkedIn, right? Let's talk about LinkedIn for a second, how it's such an important platform to getting noticed. And you know this, Anthony. I mean, me and you both have about 35,000 followers apiece, right? People are coming onto LinkedIn and they're seeing things. And there's a lot of people who just go on LinkedIn and they doom scroll. What I mean by that is they just scroll through their news feed, and they just scroll. And by the time they know it, it's a half hour later and they haven't done anything, right? Use LinkedIn to your advantage. When I work with people on their profiles, I talk about like how to use LinkedIn to the right way, how to network with recruiters, how to get yourself noticed. And one thing I recommend, if you're not doing this now, if you don't post content yourself, that's okay right now. What I want you to do is spend 15 to 30 minutes a day when you start LinkedIn, and I want you to just comment on people's posts. Leave insightful comments on people's posts. Let's say you're a project manager and you're looking for a new job. What I would do is I would go in the search box and I would search for hashtags. Those are hashtags that people are using in their posts so you can find them easier. So I might look up hashtag project manager, hashtag PMP, hashtag leadership, whatever you want to look up. I'm going to find posts specifically that have those hashtags in it, and I'm going to scroll through them, and I'm going to look for people's posts where I can leave insightful comments and get my own profile noticed. That's what it's all about. Did you know comments on people's posts actually go farther than sometimes your own content does? If you leave good comments on people's posts, I promise you, they're gonna, not only are they gonna see the post, your comment, but other people might come across your comment. They might click on your name. They might want to see what you're all about. It's a chain reaction. So spend 15 to 30 minutes a day commenting on people's posts. And then, just making sure you're just adding connections. You're finding like-minded people. It's all about how you use LinkedIn and how do you get yourself noticed. And that's how me and Anthony got followers over time, was just being consistent and doing these types of things and just getting ourselves out there and getting noticed. That's what you're trying to do as a job seeker, is get recruiters and hiring managers to notice you.
One at a time. We all get our people one at a time. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you, oh, I'll get you 1,000 people in a week. Yeah, guess what? Those 1,000 profiles, dead. Nothing. Not real. Maybe one post out of 1,000. My point is, don't take shortcuts, everyone. Okay? But Jamie, how about the premise that people don't end the job that they were on before, and they magically think that people are going to find them, though they say in their profile that they're still working? What's up with that, Jamie?
Yeah, so you're talking about, like, there's two things we're talking about here, right? People that are still saying they're working, even you're talking about people who say that they're still presently working when they're not working. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right. Yeah, like sometimes they might be open to work, but and they might be out of a job, but in their actual employment history, it still shows that they're employed at their previous company. What are you doing?
Right.
What? Tell them, Jamie. Tell them.
Nobody's going to randomly just pick you out of a sea of LinkedIn profiles and say, "Oh, are you looking for a new opportunity? Like, what, are you looking for a new opportunity? Tell me a little bit, if you're looking for a job, what are you looking for?" Nobody's going to proactively reach out to you unless they have some sort of idea that you are looking for a job. So if you're no longer working in your current company, you have to put that end date on there. Then it shows that you're not working right now. If you're not using your open to work banner, you need to use that open to work banner and put it up there, because that's what recruiters are looking for in their LinkedIn recruiter tool that they pay a lot of money for every month. They're searching for people who have their open to work banners up, who are no longer working for their current company. That's how you get found easier. And that's how people find you easier. If I'm looking for people and I see you're working, if I'm looking for people who might need help with career coaching and I see you're currently working and I see you don't have an open to work banner up, I don't want to just proactively reach out to you and see, oh, if I can help you out with anything. Because to me, I think you're still working. Maybe you're happy working. Maybe things are good, right? You've got to use the tools that LinkedIn gives you so that way people can find you easier and they can reach out to you.
Well, not only that, Jamie. What about I'll check profiles and people will come at me. They got no picture in their profile. Like,
Oh,
what are you
geez.
thinking? What are you thinking? What are you telling people who check your profile and they don't see a picture? What are you
Well,
telling them?
I'm
You
thinking
know,
if you, yeah, I'm thinking if you don't have a picture on your profile, you're probably some sort of bot like all these other bots that are out there, right? So I'm thinking that yeah, you're a bot and you're not a real person. I don't care what you're posting on there on your content or whatever. Like you need to you need to have the basics of LinkedIn down: profile picture, a compelling headline, a good about me section, right? Your experience section needs to be up to date. If you don't have a banner right now or a banner above your page that is something that maybe you want to draw attention to, like if you look at my page and see my banner, you know right away that I'm a career coach and I help job seekers. You need to have the same type of banner if you're looking for a job so people know exactly what you're looking for. So yeah, there's a lot of basics on LinkedIn that people still don't know how to use. And that's why I do a lot of LinkedIn sessions with people, because I help them build their profile from start to finish and really help them make a profile that will get more eyes on it.
right? And Jamie, what else do I see? That the statement. Oh my God! Tell them about that statement, the opening statement up top, and how important that is. I mean, some of the things I see written, you're just telling people don't read my profile. Tell them, Jamie.
Yeah. So the headline is it's real estate. It's a headline is real estate that you really need to use. You got to fill it up with keywords and skills and your most current position, and maybe even like a mission statement or a tagline. Like if you look at my, some people I see on LinkedIn say, they have their headline say open to work for this. It's like, well, that's what your banner is supposed to be for, right? Not just your headline shouldn't just say open to work. If you look at my headline, you see I use the full amount of characters, and I say everything like I say things like career coach, right? Resume writing, interview practice, LinkedIn optimization. I have a lot of stuff on my it says president of jam sessions with Jamie, helping job seekers gain confidence and rock their job search, right? So right away what my skills are that I bring and what I bring to the table. That's kind of the same thing you have to do with your headline, is you have to put skills on there and different things that will get you noticed, and do it in a creative way. And you'll see I even have emojis in my headline, right? Because that's what draws attention to my profile. That's really what it comes down to, is drawing attention, using your headline, and making the most of all the characters that you have. So I think we got a question here, Anthony, actually.
Yeah, Victoria. Victoria says, what about when people say recruiters only choose people who are currently working? They discriminate against the unemployed. First of all, before I
Who
give
says
you to
that?
Jamie, Victoria, let me tell you a little story. You're highly educated. You're very bright. You know the answer to this question. Now, that said, Jamie, answer the question.
You know what? I guess, to be honest with you, I understand that when people say recruiters only choose people who are currently working, because maybe they want to poach, maybe when they want to poach them because they're already working and they want to take them from, they want to take them from their current job over to them, right? I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of. But I'll be honest with you, like, I don't, I don't really know too many people who are saying that, honestly. Like, I mean, I know when I was recruiting for like some bigger companies, I was looking for people who worked at other banks. I was also looking at people who weren't working currently, right? I didn't discriminate against the unemployed. I mean, especially in this job market, if you're living under a rock, you know that this job market is crazy, and there's a lot of people looking for work and a lot of layoffs happening. So I don't really know, why people would just choose people who are currently working. There's a lot of people who aren't working, and it's no fault to them. What do you got, Anthony?
I think that people, as I say 100 times every hour, don't be around negative people. If people aren't giving you ideas to help you with your search and taking your energy, they have no value to you. Victoria, you need all of your energy to get your next job. People that take your energy, whether they were in your life before or will be in your life after, put them in a little box for now because you need your energy for you. And you tell people very nicely that if you're going to help me, I want you to provide solutions to me, possible solutions. People who tell you problems are not helping you, they're just taking your energy. You know what I mean? Go. That's what they got to do. Um, Jamie, the premise of people that are
Yeah.
working while they are looking, I mean, sometimes people do that in a stealth manner. I mean, what have you found with people that do that? I mean, we're focused usually on the unemployed, 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 but the people that want to get another job but are open to work, what do you do with those people? How do you help them?
I guess kind of what do you mean by that? Like you're saying, kind of, can you kind of clarify what you're saying on
Well,
that?
okay, like when somebody comes to you, they tell you, I have a job at JP Morgan, but I want to get a job at Fidelity. My point is, I don't want to leave JP Morgan until I have a job at Fidelity. How do you work with them differently versus someone that's unemployed? Because they don't want to walk into JP Morgan and have them say,
Right.
uh, we notice you're looking for a job. See you later. You know what I mean? How do you stealth look, help people look on a stealth manner?
Sure. Well, the resume and the interview sessions will stay the same, right? Because like interviewing is obviously something, it doesn't matter whether you're looking for a job, you're unemployed, you have good interview skills to help people with that. The biggest difference is where the biggest difference is comes down to times when I work with people profiles, about me, if they're already out of work and they're clearly looking for a new job and they want people looking for a job, then I will make them an about me section that focuses on their background and clearly talks about what they're looking for next, right? As a somebody who might be already working, doesn't want their company to know they're open to work, but they clearly are looking for opportunities and whatnot, that's a little bit differently. I might help make them an about me section that's more focused on growing connections and sharing their background, but not necessarily talking about looking for a new job. Same with your content. When it comes to your content, instead of obviously talking about that you're looking for a new job and you're looking for opportunities, well, the biggest thing you can do in that situation, if you're working but you're open to opportunities, is to continue to post things about your background and things that you've learned in your career over time. So, like for instance, a lot of recruiters and hiring managers, when they're looking for new hires, they're looking at people's content and they want to see what people are talking about and how they show they are a professional in their career, right? So if you are a project manager, for instance, maybe you start posting content about things that you've learned over time as a project manager. What are things that didn't work? Maybe you tell a story about a time when you did something in a project and it didn't work out the way you wanted to, and what did you learn from it? Like when you start posting things that you have experience in and you're teaching people things and you're showing your passion behind what you do, that speaks volumes, and that will help recruiters to silently find you and reach out to you privately with opportunities, even though you're not publicly talking about that you're open to work. So that's kind of how I work with people in that sense, is I kind of make them a silent assassin and help them with things to talk about and ways to get them noticed without clearly saying they're looking for a new job.
As long as the gun works and the bullet hits, it doesn't matter where it came from. The point is, you're looking. Victoria, listen to me. You got friends. You got people in the industry who got positions. After you apply at a company that they work for, go to the company page. Make sure that you know people in that company. I'm sure you have people you know in these companies. After you apply, go to the people you know. It could be first level Connections. They might have a referral program. Hi, I just applied. Hi, Steve. I just applied here. Could you put a good word in for me? Guess what? Steve is going to get a bonus if you get hired. He is going to run to HR, much like the fastest he can run, or he's going to ping HR the fastest his fingers can type because it's money for him. But the point is, Victoria, you're in full control of that. You know your network, you know your connections, you know what you do, you handle it. And when you work with Jamie, what he does is set you up that if anybody else sees it, there's really you got some camouflage, right, Jamie? You got some camouflage under your in your little battle. You're not out there just putting yourself at risk. Does that make sense?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
yeah, no, totally get what you're saying. And Victoria says she has her open to work banner up, but she also states in her profile that she's currently employed so that they know I am working. My question for you, Victoria, is this: like, does your company know that you're looking for a new opportunity? Because, obviously having your open to work banner up to everybody. I don't know if you have it up to everybody or just recruiters only, but you just want to be careful with that, right? Obviously, I don't know if your company knows that you're open to work, and they're supporting you in that, right? I know a lot of companies kind of stay away from that and whatnot, but yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it all comes down to, once again, having a game plan on your job search, even the interview process. Like, people don't realize, like, I work with a lot of people on interview skills and practicing questions and talk tracks and things like that. Everything from questions like, tell me about yourself, right? That's going to be a question that you're asked in almost 100% of interviews. Is always the first question. It's, tell me about yourself, right? I have your resume about yourself. And people, it's easy to just talk about their resume or talk about themselves, and they just read their resume from chronological order, and they just talk about what's in their resume. And really, that's a trap question. I tell people all the time, they don't want you to just read your resume. They don't want you to just read your job experience in chronological order. The reason why you got the interview is because of your resume. Now you need to have a strategy and a game plan to how you answer that question. And that's what I do, is I focus on different strategies for each type of question you might be asked in an interview. And I give you 25 to 30 pages of notes that really you can take with you to any interview that's foolproof, that works, because I've interviewed many people through my career, right? So really is a lot that goes. I mean, the jobs process has changed so much over the years. Ever since COVID, things have changed a lot in terms of how we get hired and how we get noticed. And it's not your grandfather's job market anymore. You just walk into a building and pass your resume out, right, Anthony?
Well, yeah, but the way I handle those types of things, Jamie, too, is I say to myself, or I'll even say to the person, okay, you want to hear about me? Let's go. Because words like let's go tells you and tells the person you're on an amusement park ride now. You're going to you're going to give them all about you, uh, all those 3 minutes in that ride, because that's what they're looking for. Passion, they're looking for fearlessness. They're looking for confidence. They can read your resume. What are you going to say? Well, here's who I am. I do this, I do that, I do this. This is what's important to me. This is what's happening. And by the way, when I get hired, I want to know from you. I want to ask a question. What keeps you up at night? While I tell you about myself, let me tell you how I'll fix that. Because you know what? That's part of telling them about yourself, is your ability to be a problem solver on demand. And that's what you're showing them, on demand problem solving, where they go, whoa, right? If there's a whiteboard in the room, get up, use the whiteboard, write some words on there about who you are. That's who you're about. They're never going to think you're going to do it. When they do it, you think you're going to be forgotten? Don't think so.
Right.
Unforgettable. Make yourself unforgettable. That's what you do. And that's how
And
you do it.
Yeah, and making yourself unforgettable too, and making a lasting impression. I talked about this the other day. Is also sending a thank you email at the end of an interview, right? I mean, there's a certain way to do it, and I shared a really good template. I believe it was yesterday on how to leave a really good thank you email, and I know a lot of people copied it and kept it, and whatnot, which is great. Like I said, I provide a lot of good free advice on my content. But you always want to make sure you send a thank you email within probably I would say anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours, usually 30 minutes to about 2 hours max after an interview ends, because you want to make sure you stay fresh in the recruiter's head, and you want to make sure you don't wait 24 hours, because by that point they've already interviewed several other people. You got to stay fresh in their head. You got to get that psychological advantage. I talk about this a lot during my coaching sessions, is having that psychological advantage to being the best candidate possible, and making that recruiter think to themselves, I don't need to even interview anyone else. I know I have to interview a couple more people, but I already got my eyes on you because I want you on my team. That's really what you want to do. And that comes back to what you said, Anthony, about confidence. Going in, knowing that you've gotten an interview, and breathing and taking your time and enunciating your words and whatnot. Everything goes hand in hand, and they can hear it in your voice over the phone, over a Zoom call. They can hear if you're confident and you're breathing, and if you're bringing it. That's who they usually want on their team, is somebody who's going to hit that ground running and make an impact.
And that's why I say things like, let's go. Are you ready? Here we go. Sure, let's talk. I'm all over this. My point is, these words open people up to think, wow, there's somebody that's not just afraid and ready to read what's on their resume. What's this ride going to be? Right? The amusement park ride. You're the amusement park ride driver. So you're
Yeah.
driving it. Give the employer a reason to hire you. Make it so they are making you unforgotten, never forgotten. That's on you. That's not on the hiring manager. That's not on the person that interviewed you 3 weeks ago. That's not on your friends. That's not on your family. That's on you. How are you going to become unforgettable? And how are you going to make that happen? That's what it is. Jamie, you didn't give the people my favorite stat. What percent of people that work with you do you have some part in them getting a job?
Oh yeah, good point. We didn't talk about this. Yeah, so I checked today actually. So we're close to about 89% now, and I've worked with over almost 600 job seekers, right, in the last 3 years. 89% of those people have eventually gone on to finding their next opportunity. And I don't take, like I said, I take pride in that. And at the same time too, I know that it's not just me. It's them working hard too, to take what I've taught them and obviously find an opportunity, whether it's a new resume, interview skills, LinkedIn profile. I take pride in that, right? Because it's tough to find a job, right? So I always keep track of who finds an opportunity. And the truth is, the people who are working with me, they are finding jobs faster. And if they haven't found a job yet, I promise you they've gotten more interviews, they've gotten more confidence. They know that they have me. They can call me if they need anything. They can text me. I can put recommendations in for them to anybody that they want me to. Like, my wife always says that I should charge more for my coaching sessions. She's like, do you know how much people are charging that have the same accolades as you and the recommendations as you? I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for full coaching packages. I just know that job seekers need to save money where they can. And if, obviously I can't do this for free because this is what I do full time. But if I can make that job search easier, and I can commit 24/7 to somebody's job search, and they spend a little bit of money with me to have me help them, it's a win-win, and everyone's going to win in the end, and you're going to get hired faster, and you're going to get back to making money, which is the most important thing. You need to make money. You got to get back into work, and you got to do what you can to get there. And that means trying different things, right?
Yeah, Jamie, talk a little bit about the days being longer and how that affects mood and how people can use that to their advantage because you're in a better mood because the days are longer, right?
Yeah. when you feel like you got more time in the day, you feel better because you feel like you got more hours to do things, you got more time to do things. But then you don't realize too that once 3 months passes by, 4 months pass by, then you starting to worry and whatnot, and you start seeing your bank account change and whatnot. But honestly, like, you just have, once again, you just can't give up. You can't give up. You can't think to yourself, woe is me, I'm never going to work again. I talked about this in the beginning, right? You have to pick yourself off and dust yourself off. You got to be humble too, and you got to know your situation versus, don't worry about anyone else. You got to know your situation financially and where you feel like you can take a step back. I mean, I tell people this all the time. It's one thing to understand your worth and know how much you want to get paid and know exactly what type of job you're looking for. But in the grand scheme of things, if you need to take one step backwards and you don't get a senior level role, but instead of junior role, or you take a $10,000 pay cut, is that going to make or break you in the long run? With taxes, that's really not that much of a difference. Is that going to make or break you? Or are you going to look at it as a way to get back into the workforce and start working again? And then you work your hardest to get back to where you want to be. Only you can tell yourself that. You need to figure out what's best.
Jamie, I never negotiate because I believe they have their rate, they have their range, they have they expect you to, what they think you're worth. And you say to them, well, okay, this is good, but will you pay for my certification renewal? Would you pay for my education to get another certification? Can I get an extra couple of weeks vacation? My point is, don't fool around with the money. They're just going to walk away, but they might give you stuff. And if you get stuff, once you get in there and impress people, the money's going to find its way to you. Right, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I do teach people how to negotiate salary if they choose to do so, right? Because I feel like there are times where you might want to do that, but you're right. Salary doesn't always have to be the end all be all, right? Like, salary is just one part of it. What about work-life balance? What about paid time off? What about stock options? What about 401k? What about health insurance being cheaper at one company versus another company, right? There's a lot of things that really could be negotiated if you want to negotiate something. And there's also things that might be better. You might make a little bit more at one company, but your health insurance is $1,000 more a month. So you're ultimately the trade-off isn't there, and your work-life balance might be poorer, right? So you gotta weigh out it really comes down to looking at that job offer and seeing what's all entails and making sure you get everything in writing, and then obviously not just getting it verbally, but getting it in writing, signing that dotted line, and then letting it be official.
Sometimes people, they may be taking public transportation for the first time and have to take the train in every day. Well, yeah, you're making more money, but guess what? The train costs you $300 a month. How much more money are you making now? Because the fact is, people they don't look at that. They think, oh, it won't be that big a deal. How much can the train be? Till they go check out the rates for how much the train is. And they go, whoa. And guess what, everyone? Once you tell people you've accepted the job, negotiation is what, Jamie? Over, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, like I said, there's a lot there's a lot that goes into this job searching process from start to finish, right? I'm surprised we haven't had too many questions today, Anthony. We had one question, and that was it. Remember the other time we had a lot more, right? So, interesting to see people not really.
Well,
Questions.
I think Jamie, a lot of people are floating in their pools and they're just kind of listening to us on their floats as they
Must be.
float around their pools all day. Either that, or they have all their questions answered because they've come to other events and they've heard us and they're just kind of soldiers that move with us because of the fact they understand what to do. But Jamie, with the government situation, Doge and all of the layoffs there, have you gotten many Doge people coming to you? Have you
You know
marketed
what?
to them?
You know what? Not too many actually government employees, to be honest with you. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people looking for work right now, and maybe they're just holding off until maybe they can come back to work. I know some people are talking about how they might get back to work or whatnot, but yeah, it's still a crazy situation to think that all these government employees and these these big prominent positions, people are getting laid off. I mean, I never thought we'd be in a situation like this, right? But yeah, it's definitely crazy to see people looking for work that were government employees that were there for a long time, and then all of a sudden finding themselves in a situation where they got to figure something else out.
Right. But remember their severance, Jamie, goes till September.
That's
So a
true.
lot of these people have severance till September. So it's not really real until that severance check isn't coming in anymore. Right.
Yeah,
But
and you better
you know,
believe that if I, yeah, and you better believe that if I have a severance or I'm getting unemployment and I have if I besides my bills and my like I said my bills and my mortgage and things like that, if I have extra money left over and I can put that money to the side for somebody to help me out with my job search, or if things aren't working, to have somebody in my corner, like, do it while you have the opportunity to do so, right? Don't wait until you're in a position where you're like, now I don't have any money come in. Now I want to work with somebody. I get that a lot. Some people are like, well, I could have worked with you before, Jamie, but now I have no unemployment coming in. I got no money coming in. I got to be careful of my expenses. And it's like, well, you should have done something when you had the opportunity to do it, right? That's the biggest thing,
listen,
is that people wait too long.
it wasn't real then, Jamie. It's real
No.
when the checks stop. You got a question? Take it, Jamie.
Question: I was laid off and I'm now looking for work full time. Should I add a career break on my work experience? No. So this is my opinion on this. Now, obviously, I know there might be people that have different opinions on this, right? But I do not say you should do a career break, because what you're doing is and I think, Anthony, maybe you like the career break thing. I'm not sure, but I say no because, okay, I say no because it draws attention in a negative way. It draws more attention that you're on a career break. Save that career break question for the interview process. Once again, people should know that layoffs happen. Recruiters should know that layoffs are happening. If you want to talk about what happened during that layoff, save it for the interview process. Don't draw attention on your LinkedIn profile or anything like that.
If you're going to say anything, say that you were studying full time for a certification because you wanted to get the certification. That is career oriented, and you could say, put my efforts into getting this current certification or getting my degree to allow me to be a better work candidate. Not laid in bed till noon every day because I didn't feel like dealing with life for 6 months. Sadly, that may be true, but guess what? Would you hire someone who said that to you? I don't think you would. If you're out there, think about
No.
what you would do if you were the hiring manager. Would you hire someone that said, work are too stressful. I decided to check out for a while. Well, how are you going to depend? How are you going to depend on that person? How are you going to know when they're not thinking of checking out? Because someone that does that once, there, there's always a risk. They may never do it again, but there's always a risk that they may do it again. And that to me is too big of a risk, and I don't think it's worth it based on
Yeah,
whatever you think is value. Does that make sense to the
I agree.
person? I'm not sure your name. Your name isn't showing. Your LinkedIn user number one today. So whatever.
Yeah.
So Jamie, as we reach the top of the hour today, um, talk a little bit about what you're seeing, what's getting you excited, what you're looking forward to, and what's out. What else to tell people to help them to keep going forward.
Just, yeah, like I said, I'm seeing a lot more job opportunities popping up on LinkedIn. I'm seeing a lot more, I've seen a lot, like I said, spring hiring is in full gear. It's busy out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people still looking for work. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to, obviously, myself getting more people hired. I have about, I have about 5 discovery calls tomorrow already set up. So I'm going to be taking some time tonight to prepare for those calls and look over these people's resumes and share some feedback and whatnot. So, looking forward to that. But yeah, like I said, all I can tell you is that spring is in the air. People are, you got to just stay focused once again, right? Set up alerts on LinkedIn. Make sure you're setting up alerts for specific job titles so you can make sure that you are getting notifications once a job listing goes up and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself and to be ready for the next job opportunity that pops up. And you just got to, once again, you got to just stay ready and keep that game plan going, and don't try to make too many changes to it, because then you'll start questioning yourself and second guessing yourself.
Jamie, what do you think? May 14th? You want to hang out if we're available?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it a couple of weeks from now. I'm hoping that some people in here, set up some time with me. Discovery calls. Karen was actually one of my clients a while ago. I know she ended up getting an opportunity. I think she might be back to looking for a new opportunity now. But I just want to give a shout out to Karen, because I helped her at one point and whatnot with her resume and some other things. So it's good to see her in here. It's good to see some familiar faces in here as well. And I'll answer one quick question really quick, because I see someone asking a question saying, "Do you agree with the statement that the job market is highly competitive?" Of course, yeah. I think that's an honest statement, right? The job market is highly competitive. I mean, look how many people are looking for work, and look how many people have 15 to 20 years of experience. They still can't find an opportunity, right? I mean, it's very competitive right now. You apply to jobs and they say over 100 people have applied or 200 people have applied, right? It is very, very competitive. But like I said, it's going to get better, I feel like, but right now it's just a very tough market right now. But like I said, I know strategies, I know ways to get around certain things, and how to really step outside the box to get you noticed. And that's pretty much what I do from a coaching standpoint. But yeah, Anthony, I think let's do May 14th. What do you think?
Let me confirm the date and I'll get back to you, but we'll go with that right now. And regarding the competitive job market, so the more skills you create for yourself, the more diversified you make your candidacy, the more you show that you've mentored people, dealt with people in remote situations, volunteered in your community, the more you build the special cake of who you are, the competition matters less. Build your own special cake of who you are, and good things will happen to you. Right, Jamie?
I love it. Build your cake. Yeah, I love it. That's a good way to go out today. But yeah, please let me know if I can help anybody. Reach out, send me a connection request if we're not connected already. Follow my page, follow Anthony's YouTube channel. Anthony, really quick, you never talked about your YouTube accomplishment. How can we forget about that? I was excited to hear this. Tell us. Let's celebrate it.
Well, basically, as I say, I've had a YouTube page for pretty much the last year and a half. It was stagnant for a long time. I didn't really use it, but over the last year or so, a couple of years, it's really taken off. And YouTube has sent me a beautiful plaque, which I'll show next time. We want to tease people. And the plaque was for getting over 100,000 subscribers, and we're now up to over 132,000 subscribers, on the way to 150,000, and we'll see where we go from there. But the reality is, Jamie, it's not about the big number, it's about the number one. One job, one person, one opportunity, one connection, one relationship. Take care of the ones, the big numbers take care of themselves. Jamie, another question.
Oh, really quick. Yeah, I can answer this one. I got to bounce. So let's see. How do you get around the age discrimination? So, well, obviously getting older should be a blessing and not a curse, right? But unfortunately, in the job market, sometimes it is a curse, right? But, to get around it, well, first off, it starts with your resume, right? Don't put the years that you graduated on your resume. Obviously, don't put 30 years of experience on your resume. Try to keep it to 10, 15 years if you can. When it comes to age discrimination, what do we talk about? We talk about how you're I forgot, there's a word you use, Anthony, but you're not older, you're wiser, right? So
No, vintage.
vintage. Sorry, that's the word you use. Vintage. Yes, I was trying to think about that. Yeah. So all you can do is control the things you can control, right? Obviously, when you have a Zoom call with somebody and you have a conversation, they're going to make opinions and they're going to judge you based on your looks and things like that. But all you can do is make sure you take those years off take those years obviously off your resume. Go back only 10, 15 years in your experience. And just go into the interview and show them that that you know how to make an impact and you have that experience. But those are really the only things you can do in terms of controlling that age discrimination. Unfortunately, you can't control what they think. And if they decide not to hire you because of that, well, that's not a company I'd want to work for anyways, because there's obviously other things that they're doing that are illegal and stuff like that. And it's just something that I wouldn't want to be a part of.
Okay. So on that, Jamie, have a great couple of weeks. We'll be talking soon. And thanks again for your time. Hopefully you
Sounds
get hundreds and hundreds of clients from tonight. So many, Jamie, that you don't have time to sit with me on the 14th. That's my goal. How about that?
Hey, I
Have
hope
a great
so. I hope to stay busy, and I hope to get more people hired, and I hope to meet some of these people that were on the call today and really help them out if they're really serious about their job search.
Great. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
Rock on.